From Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, Fred Lening. From Seattle, Washington, a former winner of championship bowling, Johnny Guenther. Two more of the world's greatest bowlers on championship bowling in a three-game match. From the Firestone Bowl-O-Rama Lanes in Akron, Ohio.
Hello, everybody. From Akron, Ohio, it's championship bowling once again. This is Fred Wolf. Two more of our field of 24 of the world's greatest bowlers in weekly competition with a purse of over $70,000. Both these boys making their second appearance. The winner, as usual, receives $1,000. The loser, $500. A 300 score worth $10,000. All competition sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress. Each bowler makes two appearances. Total pins for the 6 games will qualify our two finalists for the final 2 weeks of championship bowling here in Akron, Ohio, with a $15,000 added purse. The bonus system, 5 strikes in a row in any one game, $250, and $50 for each additional strike. Going into this week, the leaders for 6 games from Chicago, Carmen Salvino, totals of 672 and 626 for $12.98. In the second spot, Andy Morsich from Los Angeles, California, 667 and 629, his total $12.96. So both boys this week have a good chance of getting into the two selective spots, and I have Big Bill Bonetta with me this week. And Bill,
Fred,
old boy, what do you think here? Mr. Gunther needs, I believe, it's 638. Lening needs about 625.
Well,
give him a good chance?
Oh, yes. Of course, Gunther has gone through this before. He is one of our champions of championship bowling a few years ago. And both bowlers possess highly effective balls. They're from opposite ends of the country. I won't take any sides here, Fred. I'd like to watch this match as well as the people here and the viewing audience, and let's go to work.
All right, any prediction? Are they both going to beat those totals? They have 2 new leaders.
They could, very easily.
All right, let's see what happens. Bill, you
right.
Stand by. Let's introduce them from Seattle, Washington, the West Coast champion, Johnny Guenther. John, welcome.
Thank you, Fred. Pleasure.
And from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, Fred Daddy Lening.
Thank you, Fred.
Now, we take a little check here, and I think it comes out that way. 625 is about what you're thinking of.
I'm thinking of about 690.
690. What are you thinking of, John?
Well, enough to win and enough to get in the finals. I don't know whatever that'll take, but I hope I get enough.
All right, you've been, as Bill Bonetta mentioned, you have been through this before, but the idea is you better get enough because we got a couple of boys going next week that have
That's
a few
right.
more pins than you fellas do. So get as many as you can. Akron, Ohio, a little encouragement, and we're ready.
Johnny Guenther from Seattle, Washington, won the toss. He elected to start on the right side. All games starting on the left. That puts Fred the Moose Lening from Fairless Hills on the left. Reaches out, brings that back, and leaves the 5-7 on a splasher. Bill Bonetta with us this week here on Championship Bowling from Akron, Ohio, at the Firestone Lanes. Guenther going in with 661. Lening with 674. Guenther defeated Dick Downey. Lening defeated Ron Winger. 5-7, way out, and he is too heavy on the 5-pin, and he's open in the first frame. Well, Bill, when you're open in the first frame and you need 638, that makes it just a little more difficult, doesn't it?
Yes, I believe that first ball is one of the most difficult balls to roll in a match game competition such as this.
Here's Guenther, boy, he's out there, way out there. The 1-2-4, he misses the head pin. Next week on Championship Bowling, it'll be Ray Bluth from St. Louis, Billy Hardwick from San Mateo, California, Bluth will be going in with 7:01. Hardwick with 7:10. Gunther covers the spare. The winner, as usual here this week, receives $1,000. But I'm sure either of these boys wouldn't mind losing with about $670, as long as they can get into one of those top 2 spots. Gunther moves left. He has a 10-pin advantage. Born in Langdon, North Dakota in 1936. Went to Seattle, Washington in 1949. He's been there ever since. Gotta hurry. He doesn't get there, the 2-4-5. No, Johnny's a little careful.
Yes, some of the bowlers are favoring the light hit as opposed to the high hit. It seems the high hit is leaving many more splits than we'd normally assume there would be. So the boys are playing a little safe, I believe.
John moves slightly to the left. The AMF spare maker indicates the ball between the 2 and the 5, and he covers the spare. Well, I believe, as we did in his first appearance, Johnny Guenther, we're going to hear that thumb popping out of that thumb hole. Now, this obviously doesn't bother him, does it?
No, it doesn't. We've remarked about that several times, and he just likes to have that thumb a little tight. Therefore, a little
Big
pop.
Turn, and Mr. Lening, still being careful, leaves the 2-5. So Lening, the old story in practice, the boys line him in the pocket. 2-5, same shot that Gunther had. 4-pin doesn't count too much here. He covers very nicely, too. So Lening now moves to the left. This fellow, born in Dortmund, Germany, came to the United States when he was just a youngster. Has 4 daughters and a son. Attended Trenton Junior College. We're in the 3rd. This is up there. And almost too high, the 4-7. He is a member of the Professional Bowlers Association. He's a recreation director and a bowling proprietor. And incidentally, Bill also runs a golf shop and manages a golf course.
Boy, he keeps active, doesn't he?
That's his #1 hobby, golf. And if he runs a golf course, we better get better acquainted. The 4-7, we're waiting for our first strike. Johnny Guenther, who was a winner of championship bowling in the Winston-Salem series. He's averaging 209 for 12 games. Correction, he's averaging 217 for 24 games. Lening is averaging 209 for 12 games. And Johnny didn't stack up a 217 average, missing that head pin very often, I'll tell you that. He has 2 680 totals. His high single has been 257. And he looks at the 1-2-4 again. He will cover the spare. Had to wait for that one. Well, Bill, we've had one ball up to the head pin, actually, and that was a little dangerous, too, by Lening. Gunther has now been short 3 consecutive frames.
Well, we used to have a little remark we used to make in Detroit, Fred, that veterans take about 4 frames to get adjusted. So let's wait till after about 4 and see what happens.
That'll be up there. There we are. Well, Johnny nods his head, appreciating the applause here in Akron, Ohio, at the Bowlerama, where we've been watching 24 of these great stars in action, going for a prize fund of some $70,000. Good lift. He gets there, leaves the 10. Fred Lening. He resides in Yardley, Pennsylvania. This fellow's come a long way. He didn't start bowling until 1950. Actually, he was 28 years old before he threw his first bowling ball. He keeps you guys pretty busy when he enters one of the events on the tour, doesn't he?
Yes,
No?
he has a remarkably fine record on the PBA circuit.
There's the cover. So Lening will move to the left, looking for his first strike. Say, if you're tired of talking about a better world and want to help build one, why not join the Peace Corps? Any qualified citizen over 18 is eligible. For information, you can write to Peace Corps, Washington 25, D.C. There we are. So Lening now has broken the first sound barrier. He's got the strike. But Gunther moves in on the right with a chance for the first double. The leaders, Carmen Salvino, Andy Morsich. There's the double, and look out. Nice and easy. At the end of 5, Lening is 66 with a strike in the 5th. Gunther is 54 in the 3rd, and he works on 2. Sixth frame of the first game. Gunther on 2. Going for 3. He's there. Boy, that was a big triple. So Gunther now has actually passed Fred Lening. Lening went in with 674. Gunther went in with 661. So he's actually 5 pins ahead of Lening, and Lening needs this one. Big turn. There it is. The 7 pin is up there. So Gunther now getting away from Fred Lening. Johnny, in his first match against Dick Downey, in his first game, shot 253. Johnny's known for getting away in a hurry. He had 9 strikes in a row, the longest string that we've had, and he picked up $450 in bonus money. The high single game thus far, Ed Bourdet, 266. The high series, Bill Hardwick, 710. Then comes Ray Bluth with 701. And it'll be Hardwick and Bluth next week. Lening moves left on a spare. Gunther, 30 pins out in front. There we are. So Gunther now will take his 2 turns on the lanes.
Well, I believe Johnny has found the groove. He really rolled those last 3 balls, as did Fred Lening the last one. Good
Gotta
ball.
move. There it is, number 4. Johnny Guenther from Seattle, Washington. Seattle's perennial bowler of the year. The Washington State match game champion many times. Always a member of the All-West Coast team. He averaged 222 for 12 games in the Winston-Salem series of championship bowling to become the champion. He's on 4. This strike worth $250. He got it. Oh, he was a little careful. He was really careful with that one, Bill, wasn't
Yes, he was.
Well, Andy Morsich is the man in jeopardy. He's in the 2nd spot. Gunther is off. 4-7, a pretty good hit by Fred Lening. Some of the other good totals with Salvino and Morsich in the number 1 and number 2 spot. Harry Smith had 1285. Jimmy Schroeder, 1278. George Howard, 1274. Dick Weber, 1269. Billy Whaley, 1263. Here's cover for Lening. Pat Patterson, 1262. Dick Downey, 1258. We go into the 9th frame. Gunther sits on 5. He still can finish this game, Bill, with 9 in a row, which is exactly what he did against Dick Downey in his first game. Only he can get 11 pins more. He had an open frame with that 253. Now he got it out of there. So Lening has been throwing that big bomb of his, but he's unable to put them together. He started slowly, a little short, then he left a 10-pin, a strike, a 7-pin, a strike, a 4-7 on a solid hit, and now a strike in the 9th. Gunther will finish this game first. He bowls 2 complete frames. Nice, easy delivery. The pop of the thumb. The 4-pin stops him at 5. Pretty tight, but a good hit.
Yes, it was, Fred. Looked like that ball might settle at the pocket. Johnny has that knack of, as we've mentioned before, of adjusting at the last split second. Occasionally he can bring the ball way up, or he can make it hold. Very good bowler.
There's the spare. So Johnny now will move to the left. If he can fill this frame, he can start with 230 next week when Hardwick and Bluth wind up our 24 matches. He's right back. Right back. So that 4-pin very costly to the Seattle youngster. 243. This will be a good start for him. That brings our total bonus money up to $4,650. One more. He's got it. Oh, man, did he pile him up over there. Well, like you say, Bill, no reaction at all. He just labors back and
Yes, he does.
gets ready for the next one.
We might be pretty fortunate, Fred, that Johnny doesn't make too many PBA tournaments. It might be a little break for us, although we'd like to certainly see him on a tour.
Hurry. Well, he got 29 in the 10th. And Johnny Gunther off to a great start here with 2:42. Carmen Salvino is leading with 12:98. Andy Marsich with 12:96. Here's Fred Lening for the double. He's got it. Boy, don't count this fella out. If he ever starts pounding that pocket and carrying, he's going to be chasing Mr. Gunther pretty good. But Johnny now is out in front, and here's a big double for Lening. Ten pin right in between. Freddie making like a sour face.
You know, Fred puts everything he has in every ball, Fred. And he uses about an 11-foot approach there, which is rather short for most pros. He stands in front of the 12-foot mark. His toes are about 11 feet from the foul line. Takes 3 little steps and then a big slide. Gives him good rhythm and timing.
So Fred Lening covers the 10 pin for 195 for Johnny Gunther, 242. Standing by for the second game of 3 on Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show, Fred Wolf, along with Bill Bonetta from the Firestone Lanes in Akron, Ohio, the rubber capital of the world.
Here are the scores for the first game. Fred Lening from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, 195. Johnny Gunther off to a great start, 242. You ready for the second game, Akron? A little encouragement there. All right.
Johnny Gunther will start the second game off with a tremendous 242. That cuts Johnny's task down a bit. Billy needs 396 now in the next 2 games to get that lead. But I'm sure he'll want to get more than that with the big power coming next week, Billy Hardwick and Ray Bluth. Gunther back in that pocket. Kicks the 10 out. Oh, he's getting some nice action down there.
Yes, I believe the key pin there, Fred, is the 6 pin. It's knocking the 10 pin out, going out sideways, and this is what some of the boys have not been able to do consistently here.
Fred Lening. Lening now needs 430 in the last 2. He's got to turn that one. Oh, he did, too. Yes, sir. They were falling sideways and always, Bill.
Fred appears to overturn a ball occasionally, but actually, watching very closely, he turns the ball, lifts it, and then his hand, the thumb goes way down, the palm's down, facing the floor of it. He's got a very live ball, works extremely hard.
Lening now moving left, up short, that very short approach, short steps, big turn. Here it comes. It's there. There's the double, and here comes Fred Lening. And Carmen Salvino and Andy Marsich, who are leading with 1298 and 1296, are now just a bit wobbly up there on the top as these 2 boys begin to level off. Gunther on a strike. Lening already has the first 2. Johnny wheels it out. Here it comes, and he leaves a solid 10 pin. Gunther needing 396 for these 2 games. Lening needs 430, and Freddie looks like he's about ready to string them out. Both of these boys started beautifully in their first matches. Lening with 244. Gunther started with 253. He had 9 strikes in a row for $450 in bonus money. And Gunther rather, sagged a bit in the second game for 192. Pulled it out with 216 for 661. But Fred gets started with just 195 here in his second appearance. And he's going to have to go. Gunther moving left on a spare. Back in the pocket. Not enough of it. The 2-4-5-8. I think he was trying to fit that one.
Yes, it appeared as though he steered that one a little bit, Fred. Of course, boys are trying to get strikes and also stay out of trouble, and sometimes you get caught in the switches.
Hurry! Oh, what hit that 8-pin? Well, Johnny wasn't too sure of that one. He thought he went a bit round. Now let's see if Mr. Lening can start to close the gap. This one will make it 20, plus the count. Nice reach. Nice reach, and that's 3 in a row. And the Moose from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, now beginning to really bear down. This fellow's liable to jump right out of the building if he gets a couple more.
Doesn't he look like a fighter out there? Like his neck is all red. He works hard, extremely hard, every pitch.
On 3. Here it comes. He's there. That's 4. And Fred Lening, who trailed going into this game by 47 pins, he has 34 of them back in 4 frames. Gunther now leading by 13 pins, and Gunther had a 13-pin deficit. So these two men are exactly even to the pin for all games bowled right to this spot. There's a strike for Gunther. So we go right back where we started. Gunther needing 638, Lening needing 625. Lening has picked up that 195 game. Johnny's not had an open, but Lening has 4. The margin, 13 pins as we go into the 5th frame. Gunther is leading. He trailed Lening by 13 going into this match. It's total pins for 2 appearances. Gunther for the double. Throws it up. He's there, and he carries. So Lening, who has the first 4, must get this one to keep this match even to the pin and also cash in with $250 bonus money. What do you say, Bill? Can we get this one in the pocket?
Well, he's been in it all 4 times, so we should expect him to be in the pocket again.
Here it comes. There it is. 10 pin stops him. The 6 pins sliding off into the channel. No bonus money for Fred Lening from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. So even if Lening is the loser here this week, he still can beat out Carmen Salvino and be in the 2nd position. It could be Gunther and Lening when we're through. So at the end of 5, the match halfway. Lening is 119 with a spare. Gunther is 56 in the 3rd, and he has strikes in the 4th and 5th. We're in the 6th. Lening back in that pocket. Finn shakes them up, and that could be 6 in a row. Well, that thin hit, much more effective than that the old in-betweener.
Yes, that 6-pin twice. Now, once for Fred and once for Johnny. Just went around, wrapped around, as we call it, around the 10-pin on lane number 26. Both key shots.
Well, Johnny Guenther on a double, using the automatic AMF equipment here and getting a new set of pins. Johnny felt that setup wasn't exactly the way he liked it. Sometimes it's a matter of, it's a mental thing, but let's see if it'll pay off for Guenther. He's on 2. He's never, oh, yes he is. He got there. I didn't think he was going to get to the pocket, Bill. That 7-pin is up there. Might have carried that one.
That's that instinctive lift again, where it appeared to me also, Fred, that the ball was way out, but apparently John felt that and gave it an additional kick at the foul line, and the ball did come back and almost got a strike.
At the 7-pin, Gunther stops at 2. That's where he started his long string in the first game, in the 4th frame. Got himself 5 in a row before a 4-pin stopped him, and then he got 2 more strikes in the 10th for 242. Gunther now moves to the left. Johnny's leading by 23 pins. Now that's in this match. He trailed Lening by 13 pins going in. Lening had 674, Gunther 661. So these boys are about as close as they can get. Another 10-pin. Oh, you have to give it to John. He's certainly been around that pocket most of the way. He started very slowly. He was short the first 3 frames. He missed a head pin in the first frame. He had the 2-4-5 in the second, and he missed a head pin in the third. Came back with 5 in a row, then a 4-pin, a double, a 7-pin. He's had the bucket in this game, and every other ball's right in the pocket. There's the spare. So for Gunther, it's 124 with the strike in the 7th, and Fred Lening now moves in the 7th frame, and Fred is on that big strike in the 6th. There it is, Mr. Lening with the big double. Boy, this fella's had 7 in a row right in that pocket, Bill.
Boy.
Well, the way we stand right now, ladies and gentlemen, these men are practically tied to the pin. There's 1 pin difference, but of course, Lening being on the double, Gunther on the spare. Gunther leading by 12. Lening had a 13-pin advantage, and there is 1 more. And look out, Mr. Salvino and Mr. Marsich. Gunther had an early lead. He won the first game by 47 pins to go ahead of Lening, not only in this match, but for the 4 games. Way out. He got back and did not kick the 7 out. A lot of action there, but nothing happening in the left corner, Bill.
No, it was almost an identical hit to the one he had last time there. He left the 7-pin. I could just see the 2 pins hit the sideboards, come back out, and sort of collide and not knock down the 7-pin. Actually, a tough break, I believe.
The Seattle, Washington star Johnny Guenther really on the spot here, and he's been hitting that pocket beautifully. Strikes in the 4th and 5th. He left a 7-pin here on the right side in the 6th. He had a solid 10 on the left and came back and leaves another 7. But Lening still going. Started with 4, a 10-pin in the 5th, robbing him of bonus money. Comes right back with 3, sits on a 279 game. Lening needs 430 in the last 2 to take the lead. There's another 10-pin. That 6-pin got a piece of it. Oh, it seems to go in streaks, Bill. You can't knock the 7 or the 10 out or the 4, and then suddenly somebody comes along like Lening and strings them out.
That's right. Well, Johnny was carrying better for a while, and now it's reversed itself.
10-pin, cross lane, Gunther covers. So Fred Lening now moving in on the right side, the 1962 Metropolitan New York Bowler of the Year, Philadelphia Match Game Champion, Eastern Classic Champion. He is on a triple. This one will really put him out in front. He's way out there, and the ball comes back, and he kicks everything out but the 5-pin. Oh, man, he threw blood on that one.
See that expression on his face? He could chew nails right now. I'd bet on him, too, to break him in 2.
I think he counts money every time he releases the ball. Well, he's sitting in here with a sure 240 with a mark in the 10th, 250 with a double, and there's the cover. So Freddie now will finish the 2nd game first. Gunther on the spare. So Lening now has put himself back out in front of Gunther, and both these boys seem to be on their way to establishing 2 new leaders. It looks like Carmen Salvino and Andy Marsich will be pushed off the board. Next week, it'll be Billy Hardwick with 710, Ray Bluth with 701. Back in the pocket and another 7-pin. Oh, he can really upset them with that thin hit, can he?
Yes, he can. We could very easily have been looking at 10 strikes in a row there, Fred. Well, beautiful game, nevertheless.
You know, this fella didn't have a 300 game until May of 1963, Bill, and he's had 4 of them since May through December of 63. He only needed 625. So he's going to need about 180 to get past Salvino. There's a 10-pin, and I don't think Freddie cares about that. 246. Lening has actually 2 ways to go. He wants to naturally top Salvino's 12.98, but he'd like to beat Gunther. That would put him in first place, Gunther second, and then he would have to sweat it out next week, hoping that only Hardwick or Bluth would beat him to get him in the finals.
Oops.
Look out. Thought it'd be a washout, the 1-2-8. The most bonus money won in any one match was by Jimmy Schroeder. Lening will need 184 the last game to top Carmen Salvino. There's the spare for Johnny. Gunther did not have an open frame, 1 double. He will lose at least 11 pins in counts. Lening lost only 4. In the pocket all the way across. For the count, 199. That's it. Well, the big third game coming up, ladies and gentlemen, and it should be quite a thriller, and the pressure begins to mount. This is championship bowling with the world's greatest bowlers in match game competition. Bill Bonetta, along with Fred Wolf at the Firestone Lanes in Akron, Ohio, the home of the Professional Bowlers Association. Well, before we start the third and final game in Championship Bowling's Conversation Corner this week, we have Dick Weber. I know you've seen Dick on the show many times and on many television shows. And Richard, nice to have you with us this week.
Thank you very much, Fred.
How about the Weber family? I'm sure the folks would like to know a little bit. I've met your wife, Juanita. I understand there's quite a string of little Webers.
Well, that's right, Fred. I have 3 boys and a girl.
3 boys and a girl. Do they all participate in this great sport of bowling?
Well, yes, they do, Fred. We have great fun at it, and at the time, I'd like to advise to all families that they go out and try bowling. But Juanita bowls 3 leagues a week, plus her practice.
That's your wife?
Yes, and Richard, who is 13, bowls 2 leagues a week, plus his practice. Paula Kay, my daughter, 13 years old, bowls 2 leagues a week, plus practice. And I have a 5.5-year-old boy that goes through the motions of bowling, and a 1.5-year-old boy that goes through the motions of bowling.
Now, how about instructions? Does your wife actually take instructions?
Yes, she does, Fred. She takes instructions from me in bowling, but that's as far as it goes right there.
That's as far as it goes. Well, thank you very much, Dick. Nice of you to drop in here in Championship Bowling's Conversation Corner. Now we're ready for game number 3 from Akron, Ohio. Fred Lening from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, will start off the third and final game. He needs 184 to top Carmen Salvino, who is the leader for 6 games. Gunther needs 197, so Lening has a 13-pin lead. Look out, 8 pins. This match for the $1,000 is even to the pin. Both boys with 441. Well, you couldn't ask for a better match than this, Bill.
Oh, this is a very good match to be watching and talking about.
There's so much more at stake than winning here this week. $10,000 standing by for the winner in the finals. Johnny is short the 245. I think that ball's getting just a little heavy for John.
Yes, there's no instinct there. Twice he's let the ball go and just let it go. There's no attempt to bring it back or help it back. But this could happen in a tight match.
Nice cover. Johnny has the spare. So let's repeat the setup here. Let's repeat what the boys have to do. Lening needs 184 to top Carmen Salvino. Gunther needs 197. If they both bowl better than 184 and 197, it could be Gunther and Lening, or vice versa. The top 2 men, with 1 week to go, our 24th match, coming up next week on Championship Bowling. A 10-pin, the old accordion ball, and that 6-pin just a little short. Ray Bluth had 701. He defeated Bobby Kowalik in his first time out. So these boys are both going to need about 600, and sometimes they do not come easy. Gunther with a spare in the second. Fred Lening. Now, every pin he can get over 184 is that many more pins that either Hardwick or Bluth must get, or both Hardwick and Bluth. And Lening is well aware of this. Up short. Short steps. There's the big turn. He's got it. Look at this boy work. Yes, sir. There's two. So we're up in the 1300s if Mr. Lening can hold on for the next 8 frames, Bill. This fella never threw a bowling ball until he was 28 years of age. Going for 3.
Nice.
It moves. He's there, and look at that. Oh, man, he must be bleeding out there. He's really working. That's the big triple, and that puts this fellow up in the 200 bracket, and that's going to make it more difficult for either Hardwick or Bluth. Gunther again asking for a re-rack on the right side. Well, of course, without the pin, boy, you don't ask. You just push the buttons.
Well, he may want to change his luck a little bit and get something going here. Bowlers will occasionally do that.
That'll be there. There's Gunther now. The nice, easy swing by Johnny Guenther, a former winner of championship bowling. He was the winner in the Winston-Salem Series, and he's knocking on the door to get into the finals again. No man has ever made the finals twice. Johnny moves left on a strike. Lening is already off with the first 3. Solid 10-pin. Now, Lening has come up with some, well, shall we say, not the solid type of strike, the thin mixer, the in-betweener. Gunther losing a solid 10-pin on a strike. Very costly, that one.
I believe that was about as solid as they come. Right there.
Well, he's got the spare. Now, everybody here in Akron, Ohio, at the Bowlerama, watching Fred Lening. And for all the kids back in Fairless Hills, they're riding on this one. Here it comes, and he doesn't carry the 7th pin, and how about that? Boy, there was a lot more than the numbers on that ball, Bill.
Boy, I'll say, I saw 2 pins go right by that 7th pin and never touched it. Must have been a 2 and a 4. Oh, I had a lot of stuff on that.
Can really hit that pocket. He hasn't been really out of that pocket since the first frame of the first game. And then he had a 5-7 split. Then the 2-5, that's pretty close. He was a little careful. The 4-7, he was very tight. He's had another 4-7. In the second game, he had nothing but a 10-pin, a 5-pin, a 7-pin, and a 10-pin. So actually, this fella has not really had a ball on the nose. He has not missed a head pin. And he reaches out, and he's right back in that pocket. Oh, Freddie knew about that last one. And he misses bonus money again. So Johnny Guenther now losing ground to Fred Lening. But Guenther needing only 197 to push both Salvino and Marsic off the board. Get it up there. There's an 8-10. Ooh, snake eyes. There is no justice. Seemed to be a little inside, Bill. That ball sort of set, don't you think?
Yes, it did. He had 2 light hits in a row, and he made it try to pack this one, and appeared to be right in the pocket, but didn't have the revolutions on it.
Well, he takes the one, and Carmen Salvino still looks like he may hold that second spot. We have 5 frames to go. Lening is 99 on a strike in the 5th. Guenther is open in the 5th with 86. The 6th frame of the 3rd game. Guenther actually needs a triple here in the last 5. He needs 3 in a row. 10-pin again. Well, Johnny doesn't seem to be throwing the loose ball that he was when we started. In this game, he has had 3 10-pins, actually 4 10-pins, but one of them had company. The 8-10, cross lane, 10-pin. Gunther, who went in with 6:61. Hurry, 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 hurry.
Oh, boy.
Well, back to the master here. Having his most success on the thin hit. The power ball, deep inside. Big lift. The turn, he's still in the pocket. And there's the 10-pin. That was too good.
Yes. He may have been better off a little light on that one because the ball was coming in, all right.
One of the real fine exhibitions, I'll tell you, that we've ever seen on championship bowling. This fella has been in that pocket all the way.
What makes it even more remarkable, I believe, Fred, is that he has quite a lot of lift and turn as opposed to the line-type ball.
There it is. So Lening covers the spare. He's 119 in the fifth. He only needed 184 to top Carmen Salvino. Guenther needed 197. Johnny still needs a triple to top Salvino. Lening seems to be a shoo-in. So it could be Lening and Salvino, or if Gunther can get the triple, it'll be Lening and Gunther with 1 week to go, and he's still in that pocket. And look at that 7-pin. Stay with him, Freddie.
He's puffing now.
I don't think he can quite understand what's going on. Those pins all seem to scatter in front of the 7.
You ever see so many pins fly both directions and not touch the 7?
It's about the same hit he had in the 4th frame. He started this game with a triple, then a 7, then a strike, then a 10, then a 7. There's the cover. So that actually gives Gunther room. Johnny Guenther, a winner of championship bowling from Winston-Salem, North. Look out the 310. And Johnny has just about made his hopes of being 1-2 here a little difficult. If he can convert this one, he still has room for the triple. But he opened with 242. He had a 47-pin lead on Lening. He had over 30 pins on him to get into the finals, and Gunther is open, and he moves to the left. Say, if any of you wives feel that you're not good enough to bowl with your husband, I got an idea. Why don't you drop into your neighborhood bowling establishment, get in a little practice. Dad don't have to know about it. And when you get all ready, just casually say, "Let's go bowling, Dad," and surprise him. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun. Bowling is great fun. Gunther doesn't get there, the 4-pin. So it looks like Carmen Salvino is going to hang on here, Bill, in that second spot.
Yes, he is, and I certainly didn't think so when this game started. But Gunther had to fish around a little bit and actually got an 8-10 and made another adjustment and got baby split, so he's out of it.
At the 4-pin, the cover. So it looks like Fred Lening will be the new leader from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. He's in there again. Don't worry about it. And he got the 10-pin out of there. Boy, there's a big strike. This gives Freddie room for the big game yet. And I mean a big game. He can still cash bonus money, 248. This will give him 689. 689, which would give him 1363. And that's getting up there. He predicted 690 before the show started. Give it to him. Yes, sir. Boy, he must have sore knees when he gets through with a match like this.
Just think of all the hits he could have had in the last 2 games, Fred.
This fella hit for a good 750. I give him 750. Gunther in the 9th. Throws it up a little easy, and he's high and leaves the 3-pin. Next week, Bill Hardwick with 710. Ray Bluth with 701. If we can get Lening all the way out of here with 248, 689. 689 would give him 1363. That would mean that Hardwick will need 654. Bluth would need 664. So Mr. Lening could be shooting himself right into the finals, but believe me, the 3 strikes in the 10th, the first 2 anyway, I'll say the first 1, may be the strike that he's going to need, Bill, to make the finals in 2 weeks.
Well, I'm sure he'll have it in there. He knows what he needs.
Johnny Short leaves the 2-pin. Johnny Guenther with a chance to make the finals. For the first time in history, he could have been in the finals twice. Could have become a winner of championship bowling twice. And this is not an easy accomplishment. At the 2-pin for Gunther, the cover, the count for 171. 171 would give Gunther 6-12. Would move him in just ahead of Dick Weber, 1 pin behind George Howard. 8 pins. Johnny Guenther, Seattle, Washington. Now things will get very quiet here in Akron, Ohio, and Fred Lening has decided that he will change his setup, and he is getting a re-rack using the AMF automatic pin spotter, automatic equipment that makes you bowl at a livelier pace. Look for the magic triangle. He is on 2. He needs 3 strikes for bonus money. He needs 2 strikes to just about get himself in the finals. And he's got the first one. Oh, he's buried that one. Well, I don't know how many of you folks have paid any attention. Bill Vanetta and I have been talking about it, but I'm going to credit this fella, Bill, with 30 pocket hits.
Yes, I don't think anyone would argue with you on that.
He has not been out of there far enough to say that he has been out of the pocket. He's on 3. The turn. He's there. He's in. And he carries, and he knows how big that one is. Almost jumped right out of his wristwatch. 248.
Pretty good prediction,
Well,
wasn't
Bill, he predicted 690, and the poor fella, if he gets another strike, is going to miss his prediction.
Oh, don't you feel sorry for
Poor
him?
fella. I think he's made the finals. Boy, he's put Hardwick and Bluth really in the middle. One more for bonus money. Come on! He gets the 5. Ladies and gentlemen, a great exhibition of clutch bowling by Fred Lening from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. Closing with 248. We'll check these totals, make them official, and what a finish on championship bowling from Akron, Ohio, where you see the world's greatest bowlers in match game competition every week. Thanks to you, Bill Bonetta, for sitting in with us and getting that 689.
Oh, boy, I'm glad I was here, Fred.
From the Firestone Lanes in Akron, Ohio, where the World Series of Golf is played annually. Here are the final results for Johnny Gunther from Seattle, Washington. A 242 start, 199 and 169. The total is 610. For Fred Lening, 195, 246, and 248. A total of 689 in the clutch, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Johnny, as usual, you get that bonus money in the first game, but what happened the next two?
Well, I don't know. I got a little slower, I guess, and the old pro over there, he just rolled right over the top of me. I couldn't stop him.
He rolled over you pretty good.
He flattened me out.
There's the $500 for the losers, Sir John. Your total for 6 games, 1271. Certainly a respectable performance.
Thank you.
But this fellow over here with this big 689, now you predicted 690, Fred. What happened?
Yeah, I lost a pin someplace.
You lost a pin someplace. I know you're aware of it. We mentioned it up there, Bill Bonetta and myself, that we felt that you did not miss the pocket for the entire 3 games. Tremendous performance.
Thank
Believe
you.
me.
I felt I rolled it pretty good myself.
That's nice. I like it. Should be that way. There's your $250 bonus money. You sure waited a long time to get that. But I'll tell you, those 3 strikes you got in the 10th just may put you in the finals. I know you're aware of that. There's an additional $1,000. Next week, it'll be Ray Bluth and Bill Hardwick. They both go in with 701 and 710. That means they need around 660 to top you. You going to be with us next week, just in case?
I'll try to be here, and I wish them luck.
Why don't you drop down? What kind of luck?
Well, I still wish them luck.
Thank you, Freddie. Ladies and gentlemen, two fine performers, Fred Lening, Johnny Gunther. Good luck to you. Well, we sure hope you can join us again next week. It'll be our final match before the grand finals with a $15,000 added purse. It'll be the great Bill Hardwick from San Mateo, California, meeting Ray Bluth from St. Louis. Will Fred Lening still be 1-2 after next week's show? You better be with us. Championship Bowling, where you see the world's greatest bowlers in match game competition every week. Until next week, from the Firestone Bowler-Rama in Akron, Ohio, Fred Wolf just saying, keep them bowling out there.
Matching shirts and slack shoes on Championship Bowling by King Louie. Championship Bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress, and we wish to thank AMF for their cooperation in helping us to produce Championship Bowling.